Hi, welcome to What's Cooking with Rochelle. Today we're going to pickle some different vegetables. So choose whatever vegetables you want, but I found these amazing, adorable little cute zucchinis and little baby carrots, and pickling corn is great, ginger, all kinds of peppers. We have mini sweet peppers here that we're going to be using today. When you're pickling vegetables, the first thing you want to make sure is whatever vessel you're putting it in is sterilized. So I have water that I boiled on the stove. I'm literally going to submerge each of my jars and my lids in there and just let that sit for a minute. And we're going to take them out and then we can start arranging the inside parts. Okay, we're going to let those set for just a minute, like I said. Then we're going to carefully take them out. Do not burn yourself. While I'm waiting on those to sterilize, what we're going to be doing over here is prepping whatever changes you want to make to your cute little vegetables. So I've decided my little zucchinis, which I could leave whole, I am actually going to cut in half lengthwise. And this is just an estimate on how many will actually fit in, depending on what size of jar you're using, will determine how much you'll need. So just adjust. But this is 3 jars that I have. I think are all, I think they're like, well, the baby one is 8 ounces. I think the other 2 are like 16-ounce jars. Okay. My peppers, I am actually going to cut, and I'm going to leave the seeds in. If you don't want it to be spicy at all, feel free to remove those. I am going to take out this. But any seeds that are attached, I'm going to leave in. I just don't want the part that's going to make it bitter. And I think I will actually even leave maybe 1 or 2 of them whole. Let's cut this guy. And like I said, be creative, whatever works for you. We're just going to make it pretty. Here's our cute little jalapeno. Now, I chose a jalapeno because I wanted to add just a little bit of spice to mine. If you, again, don't want any spice, just leave that out. And the goal is to make it so that you will enjoy the vegetables, eat more vegetables because they are pickled. This guy's big, so let's cut him. The smaller pieces of your vegetables, the more of the pickling liquid they will absorb. So just keep that in mind. And the last one that I am using is English cucumber. English cucumber is got less seeds, so less water content. And that's why I chose this kind of cucumber. But you can use a regular American if you want. Okay, let's get our jars out first so they can cool off for a minute so I don't burn my hands. Okay, And those are just resting on a kitchen towel, like I said, just to cool down for a minute. Okay, so my cucumber, I've decided I'm just going to make into slices. If you want to be anal, you can absolutely use a food processor. You could use a mandolin and slice them so they are all exactly the same size. We're just going to eyeball it today. If you're getting invited to a party or something like this is an amazing, quick, healthy thing you could bring as an alternative instead of a charcuterie board or alcohol or anything like that. And pretty much everybody can eat it. Okay, that should be enough. Now, I do have pickling spices here. You can make your own blend of whatever you would like. Mine is a combination of coriander seeds, mustard seeds, bay leaf, and it does have a little bit of salt, pepper, cumin. We're going to add all of that. The last ingredient that you need is some kind of vinegar. I have two kinds of vinegar here we're going to use today. We have a white vinegar, a white distilled vinegar, and we're going to use a rice wine vinegar. Other vinegars you could use would be like a red wine vinegar. You could maybe use a white balsamic. Do not do the heavy ones. It will overpower the flavor of whatever you're doing. So the more delicate whatever you're making, the more gentle the vinegar you want to have for it. So these are cool enough. I can grab them, put those up there for now. And we're going to start with our little guy right here. Now you want to do equal parts of vinegar and water. You want to make sure that the water is also clean. In other words, you want to make sure that there's no impurities in the water. And you could do that by boiling the water. Okay, so we're going to take a cute little jar for our cucumber. And what I want to do is arrange them along the wall. We're just going to make it look pretty. Again, you don't have to do this. You could totally just slam them in there. Put this guy in the bottom. See, I was overzealous in my cutting. Okay, so the next thing that you're going to do is add your pickling spice. I have 2 tablespoons here that I'm just going to divide between them. So we're going to just put a teaspoon into the little jar. Now the next ingredient that you need to add is sugar and salt. All right, boom like magic. Here we go. We got our salt and sugar. I apologize for not being organized enough today. So I'm going to add about a little less than a half a teaspoon of salt and sugar into this little guy. And for the cucumber, I am going to do equal parts of water and vinegar. So what we're going to do is eyeball as best as we can. And then we're going to add the water. And you do want it to cover. So let's switch that guy out. Now, when you're pickling these, you do need them to marinate. In other words, sit in the ingredients for at least 24 hours. You do want to try to consume them within the first couple of weeks, even though we've sterilized it. These are obviously not preserved. If you would like to actually can them, you could, but we are not doing that here. So you do want to eat your pickled vegetables within the first couple of weeks, but definitely wait a day. It'll absorb. And if you're adding spice, it's going to get spicier as we go along. Okay, let's put a lid on this guy. And let's move on to our next one. Okay, so let's do our zucchini in here. So I'm going to make my zucchini so that the outside is facing, actually maybe I'll rotate them. See, you didn't know we were in art class today, did you? Okay. What's that right there? And you can see how, you know, if you put a bow on it or some ribbon or, you know, and make it look really fancy, even though, as you can see, it's not really super fancy. Gonna get this guy like that. Let's see if I can get these in there. Oh, that was perfect. All right. Next is our pickling. So we have a little bit more volume here, so I'm actually gonna add 1.5 teaspoons in this guy of pickling spice and 1/2 teaspoon of sugar and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Then we are adding, as you know, the vinegar and then the water. Doesn't that look cute, you guys? All right, 2 more to go. These are our colorful guys. We're gonna do our peppers in this one. Let's do try to rotate our colors around here. And you can use any size jar that you want. They do make bigger jars than the jars that I'm using here. If that would make it easier for you, feel free. There we go. We've got our peppers. Again, adding our pickling spice. We're gonna add 1.5 teaspoons. We are going to add 1/2 teaspoon of sugar and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. For this one, we are also using white vinegar and water. Let me get a little more. If you like yours a little more vinegary, add more vinegar. If you want saltier, sweeter, feel free to do that as well. The last one idea that we have is the carrots. Now the carrots, I think, are going to require the longest period of time to sit based on the fact they are more dense, and our carrots are just a hair too long. We can add these little pieces in there too, but let me see how many of these are too tall. Okay, and again, we're adding our pickling spice, and it should equal out. We are going to add our sugar and salt. Gonna add a little less for the carrots. With the carrots, I thought it'd be neat to do the rice wine vinegar, so we're actually gonna go halfway with the rice wine vinegar. And then with the water. Okay, we have our cute little jars all done. I am going to let these sit in the refrigerator for a day. They're still going to be a little crunchy after one day, but the flavor is going to be amazing.